Hey, I'm all bundled up in my apartment because it's minus 20 degrees outside and we're supposed to be getting about 35 centimeters of snow over the next couple of days. So by the next time I do an update, I may be buried in it. But anyway, I finished Fellowship of the Ring. I've done chapter by chapter video updates for all of it, and now what I'm going to do is just a summation of my thoughts on rereading this for the third time. As I've said before, I've always been kind of lukewarm on Lord of the Rings and Tolkien. So every few years I come back to it to just see if it clicks with me this time. Well, overall, I will say that I'm mostly the same where I was before. It played out how I expected, with the same things that I enjoyed, the same things I didn't enjoy. I most liked the start of the book. For me, that's still my favorite part of Lord of the Rings, with the characters, the atmosphere, setting up the stakes, all of that. And then I also really love the stuff in Moria, my favorite adventure part of the story, but that's how I felt before. In terms of things that I noticed that I didn't before, there was a lot of that, so I was getting a little bit more substance out of it. I picked up on a lot more references with like the deep lore of Tolkien because now I've read the Silmarillion and I hadn't the last time I read Lord of the Rings. And I've also read a lot of other fantasy stories, so I was more appreciative of how Tolkien was working with and sometimes subverting older fantasy tropes. For example, the idea of like the big strong warrior man saving the day is subverted with Boromir being corrupted by the ring and all the hopes of Middle-earth being placed with the hobbits for the most part. And there's also this idea in fantasy of like, we can do it, guys, we've got good on our side. Well, in Lord of the Rings, they all believe they're going to die, and there's all this fatalism going on. And Tolkien blends this into another fantasy trope, which is this idea of magic being lost and whittled away over time as man expands their settlements and industry pervades nature and all of this stuff. You can really see that with the elves and their sense of doom and gloom, with Lothlorien being like this last bastion of this ancient world that's about to be lost, whether or not Frodo succeeds. Now, there are some things that I have issue with that I can kind of, for example, I think Tolkien has this mixed record when it comes to setting up stakes that feel real. On the one hand, he's great at really setting up the stakes and the doom and gloom, like I said before, but at the other hand, he's also kind of undercutting himself. Gandalf taking 20 years to take action on the ring, and them being in broad daylight and camping at leisure while they're being pursued. Little things like that that kind of bother me. So it's a mixed bag for me overall, but I still got a lot of enjoyment out of it. Next time you see me, I'll be doing updates for Two Towers, so follow along as I continue my reread of Lord of the Rings.